Good afternoon, everyone. It's Mr. Dyes here, speaking from his own home, hopefully to all of you in your own homes that are working from home at the moment. This is the next in our set of art activities, and hopefully you'll find this one quite enjoyable, but also quite easy to do, and doesn't really require an awful lot of materials, things basically that you can find around your own home. It's aimed at children from year 1 through to year 6, and you can take it on and make it as wonderful or marvellous as you possibly can, or you can just take it on at a very basic level. It's up to you. So I'll show you all the things that you need and how we go about doing it. So the activity we're going to be working with is basically a repeated pattern, and those repeated patterns are going to carry across from one side of the paper to another. And when I say repeated, they're going to be the same pattern. It's just going to be the spacing that's going to be slightly different. And then when we finish doing the work from one side to the other, we're going to add a slight embellishment, a little bit extra to that initial design. So this is quite a large piece of paper, and it's coloured paper that I worked with. This is a smaller, darker one, which you can see if I hold it up slightly better to the camera. Then I've put little leaf shapes on the end of here. But again, as you can once you've mastered the basic technique, once you've learnt how to do the basic work, then you'll be able to carry on and do things that you find more and more pleasing. So all we need is, this is going to be just a plain white A4 piece of paper, and I found a piece of cardboard in our recycling. It's quite thin cardboard, it's not thick cardboard, it's quite thin. It's the back of an old envelope actually. The only thing it needs to be is that it needs to be wider than the A4 piece of paper that we have. So I'm going to turn it around this way. No, not. I'm going to keep it that way. And I'm going to, because this is going to be something for me to draw around and keep that shape the same each time that I move it across the paper, I'm going to make it quite a straightforward shape. A, it's got to be cut out, and B, I've got to go over that shape again. So what I want to, I'm looking for a long thin shape that has some interest in it. So I've got a couple of bubbles that come out this side, a slight curve here and a bubble that comes there, and that should be quite easy to cut out. Now the card needs to be not too thick, as I said, to make it easy to cut out, but if you find it difficult to cut out, then you could get some adult help with that. So I'm just quickly going to, you don't have to cut it exactly because you can be making it as you go along, so don't worry too much about getting it in the lines. And as usual, I'm cutting with this part of the scissors here right in the middle, so that it really works with the cardboard. Now you've got two sides here. I'm going to get rid of this cut piece, and I'm going to use this piece, which I'm going to use as a template, and I'm going to put it across on top of the piece of paper that we've got, and that will hold that down firmly, because what I want to do is I want to use my pencil and I'm going to push against here. I'm going to come round, pushing in all the time, and I'm going to hold this hand pushing down so that the piece of card doesn't slip. So now I should have my first mark on the piece of paper. Now all I have to do is I have to move the card into a different position, moving it across the paper, but not too far. And I'm happy that I've got the bottom and the top where I want them. I'm going to go and just repeat that process, and I'm going to go across like so. And now I have two marks that are exactly the same in shape. It's just the spacing that's slightly different. I'm going to go again. I'm going to sort of fan this out. So if you notice here, I've got the same space more or less at the top and the same space at the bottom, but the space at the bottom is bigger than the one at the top. But you can do it however you want to. It's really important to push into that card, and it's also important to push down hard with this hand to stop that card from moving. So if you're pushing down hard with this hand, it's going to stop the card from moving. So your template is going to stay in place. I'm now going to swap around, so I'm going to make the space at the top slightly bigger and the space at the bottom slightly smaller, and I'm going to go from top to bottom this time. And I'm just going to work my way across that piece of paper. Like so. So you can see that we're beginning to build up that repeated pattern. So I've just taken the pattern on further across the paper, so you didn't have to wait and watch me doing it too much. And then what I've started to do is to move this end more further along the piece of paper. So I'm basically twisting it and turning the shape so it goes off of the paper. So I've got this little corner bit to finish off now, and I'm going to not be able to do the whole piece, but I'm going to be able to do the pattern that will take me around to finish off what I'm doing. So you do need to be a little bit careful on this bit. Just do that last one, maybe fit another one in just here. Again, this is something that you can just have fun with and experiment and see what you think works best. So there's my basic piece of work. Where I was rushing a bit, I've made one or two mistakes where I've come off of the card, and because I'm working with pencil, it's quite easy to use a rubber eraser to get rid of those extra pieces, and then I can make good freehand the bit that I've missed out. Now you could leave it like that, but I noticed these little bumps here might make a good extra bit of interest for us. So I'm going to fill in that little space just by connecting up the lines. So where it was a bump, it's now got something to give that line a little more interest. I'm not keeping them absolutely the same because it's a little bit difficult when they're close on in. I'm going to just very quickly do those. And then you need to look at it and think, I wonder if there's anything else I can do with that. So I might just put a little dot in each one. You might want to shade that one in, or you might want to shade all of them in. You might want to do little patterns going across there. Those leaf patterns I think work quite well. And then you might want to, it's quite nice if you keep it all the same, but also the ideas that you have, keep those going. The other way that you could make this a little bit more exciting is if you've got a pack of felt tips, using the same felt tip colour all the way through, or you could use different colours, or part of it one colour, part of it another colour, or colour these bits in here. So you can take this original piece of work and take it as far as you can, depending on what materials you've got. You could even shade the back of the paper if you've got paint, or you could do this in ink and put water on it and see how that comes across. So this is just a basic idea for you. Have a go and see exactly what you can do. And again, it's just it's fairly straightforward, but you can make it more and more complicated, or more and more interesting, or more and more exciting. So have fun with that one, and I'll see you next time.